9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Hi everyone, how are you? We're on another episode for Women's Wrestling Army After Show on Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. I am here with these two amazing people. I'm Shay Sawyer. How are you guys?
Hello. Saisha.
I'm Lyric.
And we have another close-up. This is a limited exclusive series hosted by Alyssa Marino. This week we have Tasha Steelz, the Boricua badass. What were you guys' initial thoughts, just from everything and the beginning, and also the excitement of getting these close-ups with Tasha Steelz?
I love Tasha Steelz. I think she's great. I've been watching more of her stuff, so I was super excited to get to know her more through this close-up. So yeah.
Same, we've talked about Tasha before, that we just love her because she's confident, she's hilarious, she just is, out there, and yeah, I was excited to really just get her take on these matches. So yeah, you want to get into it?
Yeah, absolutely. She is definitely one of the big personalities in Women's Wrestling Army, so I was excited. So yeah, we started right away. Alyssa asked how she was. She said she's feeling good, being the badass she is, and still the greatest who beat the greatest. She also said one question that Alyssa asked was, what did it mean to you to be getting in on the ground floor and setting the tone for the debut of Women's Wrestling Army? And her response was, it meant a lot to her. Says when she heard the idea from Maria and Bobby Cruz, she immediately wanted to jump in on it. If there's anything that is about wanting to change about the standard of women's wrestling, she's all for it, which I believe because she's always been, she's always given that. How do you feel about her response to that?
Yeah, it sounded very on brand for her. Like, Tasha really strikes me as somebody who isn't just a wrestler, but really wants to carry that banner for women's wrestling and genuinely wants women's wrestling to grow in all forms. And it just shows her leadership, and she really is a leader in this space.
For sure. And what I really liked about it is that it seems like everyone, when they're asked that question, when they got the call, everyone was just really excited to offer their services in any way. Of course, as a wrestler, they would like to be a part of it. But I think that they were just so excited to be working with Maria, and Maria has built this brand around who she is and her work ethic that people trust her automatically. So I thought that was really cool too.
100% agree. So we then get into the first matchup that they wanted to take a deep dive into, which was Tasha Steelz versus Taya Valkyrie. We know Taya Valkyrie, we love her. So getting into this, we have Tasha twerking, which leads to Taya kicking her in her butt, literally. That was pretty funny. Then we have Taya getting Tasha in a wrist lock, which Tasha reversed into her own wrist lock. Taya then rolls through and gets her in another wrist lock and then wrenches the arm. We then have Tasha getting her legs swooped through the ropes. Taya kicks the back of her head and then delivers a pandemonium. She begins repeatedly kicking Tasha on the apron as well. That did not look fun at all. Tasha stomps Taya out in the corner, playing to the crowd as Tasha does. That's her main thing. She's a big character. Tasha hits a snapmare followed by a penalty kick for a pin attempt. After that, Tasha hit a clothesline that doesn't really work. It didn't really phase Taya very much. Then she went for a leaping clothesline for a pin attempt. And then in the Rings of Saturn, she put Taya in the Rings of Saturn, but she got to the ropes. Taya hit an open palm strike followed by a blue thunderbomb for a pin attempt. That then leads into Taya hitting a hip attack followed by double knees on Tasha. After that, Taya tries to get Tasha in a hold, but Tasha breaks free and hits a kick to the face followed by a cutter for the win. What were you guys' thoughts on this match?
I thought it was great. Tasha's great. I love Taya Valkyrie. I think she's an absolute powerhouse. These two have styles that really complement each other. And so, this was great. I'm definitely this is one match that I'm definitely going to probably go back and watch the full one just because these two are just rock stars and I admire them. So, yeah, I loved it.
I think this was the first time. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if I'm echoing because I do not have my mic. I think this is the first time we see Taya Valkyrie, right, for Women's Wrestling Army. I think this is our intro. And so this was the first time I was seeing Taya Valkyrie, and I was just blown away. I was like, who is this? And have been a fan ever since. And so I really did enjoy this match because, again, Tasha Steelz, she knows how to work it, and she does it well. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to be able to follow Taya, from watching this and then, and of course seeing Tasha. So it was great. Hey.
I think it's also interesting. At the time, Taya was the Reina de Reinas champion. And also Tasha talks about how she wants to one day challenge for that belt. And so hopefully I would love to see them run it back in Mexico. In AAA, just because obviously Tasha has her Puerto Rican roots, and Taya is basically as big as you can get as a foreigner in Mexico. So I'd love to see them mix it up there.
Okay, pause, because obviously look at the crossover. So I'm just go with me here. So for Collision, after show, which you can check me and Dynamite Dolls out on Sundays, we had talked specifically about these kinds of, that I wanted to see, that these kinds of theme shows for Collision. And this would be, I know Tasha obviously is not with AEW, but something like this, that would be really cool to see anyway.
Tony Khan actually today on the media briefing call for Forbidden Door, he talked about the question was essentially, do you want to do more collaborations with other organizations after the success of the relationship with New Japan? And he said that one place that he really wants to do more is in Lucha Libre. He said he would love to do more collaborations in Lucha Libre. He said right now it's a little funky just because, well, not right now, forever. It's been funky because of CMLL and AAA. They got beef, bad, Bloods versus Crips bad. And it's been bad for a very long time. And they are not looking to rectify that situation anytime soon. It's really bad. And so you have AEW has a relationship with AAA. And so that is the wrestling company that Taya primarily wrestles for, AAA. Then you have CMLL, which is the other bigger organization. They have a great partnership with New Japan. So if you remember at Resurgence, Stephanie Vecchier, she's from CMLL. So essentially, it's a lot of people, great people who can probably never wrestle because of that. So that's the only thing. But TK is open to doing one of those big lucha events with matches like these. We just got to get the Bloods and the Crips to get along,
to come together, of wrestling.
Absolutely.
And to give us a good show. But like I said, it still stands that I would love these theme shows. Give us lucha for an entire show. Wow, we are still talking about this Tres Leches. I just, at this point, you just gotta show. It has to show up at the door. We can't talk about it no more. I did not mean to rhyme, but that is. Anyway, we can move on. I'm so sorry.
I agree. We just need them to tie their bandanas together and just let it go.
Yeah, these people are willing to die behind their respect for real. So it's very serious out here in these wrestling streets, these Mexican wrestling streets. I'm telling you.
Listen, don't play. So we get back to Alyssa and Tasha. Her first question to Tasha was, is there any advice you could give people to help incorporate more flavor in their lives?
Flavor.
Oh yes, true. Flavor.
Flavor.
You're right. I've watched too much Flavor of Love to have said flavor. So Tasha says only one person can give that flavor, and you would have to be under her to have it. Says people try, but you just can't. You just can't. Like, and I love it. That's the perfect answer, actually. Another question was, what factors do you think made you the contender you are? She said just growing up where she grew up. Didn't grow up in the richest area. A lot of where she went to school with a lot of cattiness. Her family doesn't raise any punks. And her trainer had the same background, so it helped because he knew where she came from. And she named Damian Adams as her trainer. So, shout out to you. you definitely put out a real one because, Tasha is not to be played. And she asked her also about raking the eyes at one point during the match or previous the match that we talked about. And she said, it's not a cheating. It's like a strategy. Which, yeah, I mean, hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Yeah. So then they start talking about the Begin Anywhere tapings. And she asked, heading into this match, did you know much about Mazzerati? She said she didn't know much, but heard her name a lot and said her friend Chris Bay said she is tough and very competitive. So she took that. How do you feel about these responses she gave to these questions?
I admire confidence. Like, I love women being confident. Like, I think, especially in wrestling, like, I like when people just talk, they talk and be like, yeah, I'm like that. You'll never beat me. What did Bianca say? You can never beat me, do it like me, or do it better than me. So I like when people come into it with that type of confidence of just like, yeah, like, I know I'm that girl. Y'all never be me. Cry.
I mean, yes. And all of that. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So we do have a commercial if you guys wanted to get into that.
Let's do it.
So I'm gonna just, for 1 second, we'll be back, and we won't be talking about Love Island, Roderick. We won't be talking about Love Island, not today. We'll be right back one moment.
Hey peeps, TK Trinidad here, boss lady of Women's Wrestling Talk. And I want to say thank you so much for watching because you've got millions of options. Plus, you don't have to worry about sharing your password to check us out. But while you're here, hopefully you know we have so many more shows to watch, like Turnbuckle Glam, Raw Post-Show, WOW Post-Show, AEW Dynamite Post-Show, Women's Wrestling Army Post-Show, NXT Post-Show, Impact Wrestling Post-Show, AEW Rampage and SmackDown Live Post-Show, On the Scroll, ROH Post-Show, WWT Live, plus all of our interviews with the hottest women's wrestlers in the game. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our website at www.talkpod.com and follow us on all social media platforms at www.talkpod, and make sure to spread the word. That means send this to the group chat. Yes, even the person with the green bubble. Thanks again so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
Love the commercial. All right, back into it. We now have Tasha Steelz versus Mazzerati, the beginning of this dynamic duo. As we remember, Aisha, right?
Yes.
I love them, though.
Mm-hmm.
So right away, they both lock up, and Tasha gets her in a wrist lock. Mazzerati rolls through and escapes, and then slaps Tasha, just kind of show the defiance, because it kind of seemed like Tasha was trying to, put Mazzerati up on game. And Mazzerati was like, don't talk to me. I know what I'm doing. How do you feel about Mazzerati was so defiant to Tasha in the very beginning before they became a duo? How do you guys kind of feel about that?
Okay, Mazzerati is Mazzerati. She gonna do, she's not intimidated by anyone, right? What I loved, and even before you even get into it, what I loved watching this match again and watching the highlights was that I was like, oh, this was really really good. Like, I don't really remember, like, I remember watching it, but I don't remember feeling this way about it. That I was like, oh my gosh, like, yo, Mazzerati was doing her thing. And so it was really exciting to be able to like experience that feeling of like, oh wow, like maybe because now I know a little bit more. And so when I'm watching, I'm like, oh yeah, it was a really good matchup. So, but anyway, Maserati's gonna do what she needs to do. She's gonna say what she needs to say, just like Tasha. And I think that's why they have good chemistry.
Yeah, I also, looking back, because I think the first time I ever like came on this show, we watched some match, and it was Maserati and Tasha teaming up. So this was really cool to like go back and like see some of their stuff of like how this all came to be, how this partnership came to be. So like that's super cool. And I think a lot of times as a wrestling fan, for me, a lot of matches don't hit until maybe the second watch. Like sometimes, like, you know, I will have to like go back and rewatch stuff, so that doesn't surprise me. And I also think like Tasha has a very big personality, and I think she can smell weakness from like a mile away. So you gotta like, you know, put your game face on when you go in front of her and show her like you ain't, you know, weak. You're not weak. Like you got to be tough. And so I think that, and obviously Tasha respected her after the match for that. So, yeah.
No, definitely feel like Maserati gained her respect in this. So jumping right back into it. From the highlights, we got after that, Tasha followed up with a kick to the midsection, then a headbutt, and then multiple chops in the corner. At one point, Maserati delivers multiple arm drags, then a knee to Tasha in the corner, and then double knees to follow up. We then had Tasha hanging Maserati over the ropes, kind of getting that, kind of wrenched her over. Then Tasha hits 3 elbows on Maserati. The third one was with some, sauce, obviously, as Tasha, I expect nothing less. Tasha goes for Maserati, but Maz hits a hook and kick through the ropes, which I love. I love when she does that. That's such a cool, like, signature move of her that I really love. Tasha follows up with a big boot, like a big boot to the face. After that, Maserati goes for a kick, but Tasha moves and then gets her in the rings of Saturn. What were you guys' thoughts on the highlights we saw from this match?
Oh, we just looking at each other like, oh.
You have been talking first. I thought you were gonna go, and then you were looking at me, and then I couldn't find the button to unmute myself.
Softball game.
You good. Yo, listen, this big boot to the face right here in the upper right corner. I had to play that back a couple times because Tasha, like, look how she got off the ground. I had to watch that a couple times. All good stuff. That's all that I have to add.
Do you know the confidence that you have to be that short and make a big boot a part of your arsenal? Like you're just out here having fun, aren't you? Like you just having a blast. I think you can just tell, like, she really feeling herself. Like you doing a big boot and you're like 4'5'4". That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh, right? Yeah.
It is very crazy. I always love when I see, people who are small stature doing these big power play moves. I'm like, you better let them know. You better let them know what time it is.
Absolutely. I think that was one of my biggest problems I felt growing up about like the cruiserweights growing up, because I always felt like the smaller people, they're always supposed to be high flying or they're supposed to be fast, which is fine, which is great. Like, love that. Hello. But I like seeing the small people do power moves. Like, I want you to fling me from here to next week. Like, do that kick, do that power bomb, all the things. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the confidence. Like, walk out there like you 6'5". Yeah.
Period. Sorry, I was muted. You didn't hear, but I said period. So after the match, we have let's see here. Tasha says she felt Maserati was disrespectful and she tried to give her makeup advice. Now listen, Tasha, the revisionist history on that was not what happened. You came up just dragging Miss Mazzerati about her makeup. That is not what happened. It was not advice at all. She also said, "Don't disrespect the brightest star in the sky." Speaking about her next match, she said, Ali Rex was one of her first opponents that she had, and says she was prepared for Ali and knew a lot of her tricks. When you saw that they were going to face each other, what were your thoughts? And also, what was your response to her on the makeup tips as well?
I just want to say that screen cap going back of Tasha and that makeup chair is crazy. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's giving very strong. Like, what was that movie called? Major Pain? That's exactly that's what it's giving. Because why are you wearing a do-rag with the soldier glasses looking at that girl like that? It's giving very much so Damon Wayans in Major Pain.
No, because you were not wrong. Because this whole thing, we were cracking up about it because I'm like, why are you in her face like that?
Like, why are you? But she knows she wrong for that. What the bed did up like?
Immediately attacked her for her makeup, and I was like, you know what? Y'all both are ridiculous, hilarious. Still one of the funniest.
Got the camera on my girl with her scarf on, like, oh.
And her bright eyeshadow. Maserati's like bright eyeshadow, so she is just like,
just foul. Like, we need to talk about some of these camera cuts. Okay, we need to talk about some of these camera cuts.
Ooh, okay, too funny. Okay, but going back to your question about Ali Rex. So, I did not know what to expect because I hadn't seen Ali Rex before. So, you know, I was familiar with Tasha, so I just thought like, well, I guess we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. And I was pleasantly surprised. And she did talk about, you know, basically feeling like being what is the word? Being honored and being trusted with, you know, Ali's first match back after being injured. And so I was like, that's nice. Like that you're very precious with that. And, you know, ultimately you want to take care of the person who's coming back from an injury and being that first person's match back. Yeah. That's all I got. What you got, Lyric?
No, definitely. Yep.
Good.
Oh, yeah. So getting into the match, Tasha Steelz versus Ali Rex. Right away, Tasha hit an up and over on the corner. Ali follows up with 2 arm drags, followed by a cartwheel into a forearm in the corner again. After that, Tasha drives. She kind of drives her into the turnbuckle, sending her outside. After that, Tasha followed up, driving Ali into the post outside. So she was really trying to put her out. Like, oh my goodness. Ali gets some hits in on Tasha, but Tasha then hits a pump kick for a pin attempt. After that, Tasha chokes Ali on the ropes whilst arguing with the ref as she was choking her a little bit. Yes, see? Thank you. Yep, you see it. Tasha hits an uppercut followed by a kick in the corner, then a roll through snapmare with a low drop kick for a 2 pin attempt. Ali hits a crucifix pin, then a backslide, followed by a Russian leg sweep for another pin attempt. I mean, she was trying to end this quick, which I get. You're in the ring with, you know, Tasha Steelz. You want to wrap it up as quick as you can before she gets momentum. That makes sense to me. Tasha then hits a spine buster, but missed a clothesline, which allows Ali to hit the Matrix into a head scissors. After that, Tasha went for a cutter, but Ali reversed. But Tasha pushed her into the corner. Ali hits a lung blower for a pin attempt. It's a back and forth forearms for a good minute. After that, Ali goes for a move, but gets thrown, and Tasha puts her in the Rings of Saturn. I'm noticing a pattern here. Rings of Saturn is that move is nothing to play with. You don't want to get caught in that. Well, unless you're Taya. She was able to get to the ropes, but for the most part, you don't want to get in that move because it is a clear W for Tasha after that. What were your thoughts on just the highlights we saw from this match?
Great stuff. I really love Rings of Saturn as a submission maneuver. I think that it's just very lethal. Very rarely are you going to get out of that. Very rarely are you going to be able to have like the core strength to like push your legs to try to remaneuver your body. And the more you try to remaneuver your body, it's going to pull on your shoulders even more because they're being trapped behind you. Just a very great submission maneuver. Yeah, I thought it was great. Tasha's great as always, and I think just like beyond kayfabe of her just understanding what it means to like wrestle somebody who's just come back from an injury and take that very seriously, and just making somebody feel safe while still entertaining the audience. That's really all you can really ask for in a great wrestler, honestly.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. That it was, but honestly, like that was lovely, better than what I was going to ramble on about.
Period. So just some last minute things that were said between Tasha and Alyssa. Tasha said it felt good to be undefeated. At this point, she was undefeated, and she wants to stay undefeated and beat everyone. Beat on everyone, actually. She didn't say beat everyone, but beat on them, which I feel is worse. Alyssa said, what does the future hold for Tasha? And she said, it's just how she is, which is very bright. Plans on getting in the ring with every single woman in Women's Wrestling Army and every woman who wants to come to Women's Wrestling Army, which I would be all for. Do you guys have any people you specifically would like to see her face that she hasn't yet?
Trish Adora, if she hasn't already faced her. I would like Trish Adora. I have some people who I would love for her to fight in Impact. Like I need to see Tasha Steelz versus Masha Slamovich. I would like to see Tasha Steelz versus Killer Kelly. Tasha Steelz versus Trinity, baby. I need it today, tomorrow, the next day, and them days after that. Yeah. But in Women's Wrestling Army, I'm excited. I don't know. Has she faced Queen Aminata yet? I would love to see that.
I don't. Yeah, I was like, I don't think she has. Not in Women's Wrestling Army. Trish Adora and Tasha Steelz have a match in Women's Wrestling Army. Did we miss that?
Yeah, Wrestling or did they do like some on Impact? And Battle.
Oh, Battle Slam.
Gotcha.
I got you. Masha Slamovich has been on Women's Wrestling Army, so that would be a nice match as well. I would love to see that as well.
And I'm almost positive now with Maria being signed to AEW Ring of Honor. I think we're going to see probably some more AEW Ring of Honor girls in Women's Wrestling Army, addition to the ones that we've already seen going forward in future tapings. So, maybe seeing her versus, Sky Blue or Willow or some cool people. Oh, she's coming back at the Summer Sizzler.
Okay. All right.
By the way, Nikki, I love that graphic. I think I said it on Instagram, but I love the graphic that you did for the Summer Sizzler.
I know. Enjoy. Are y'all? Wait. Look, I'm talking to Nikki. Are y'all there yet? No. When? Tomorrow? This starts. Is it tomorrow? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah. Enjoy if you are already on your way to Atlanta.
Very true. Yes. Do that.
Yes.
So we'll just go over the roster superlatives real quick with Tasha, and then we have reached the end of the episode. So, most likely to stay out all night, she said Ashley D'Amboise. Most likely to believe they can fix something, she said Trish Adora, which I kind of could see. Most likely to have snacks on hand, Holodead. This is not the first time someone said Holodead. I'm catching on. Most likely to cry over a movie, she said Deonna Purrazzo. Most glued to their phones, Queen Aminata. Most opinionated, she said herself. I would agree with that, just because I feel like Tasha is one person I've seen just like watching, always gives her opinion, always is going to say it how it is. So we
love self-awareness. We love self-awareness.
Exactly. She had Petty Steels. And then the last one was Superhero in Disguise, which I feel like makes the most sense. Janai Kai. What do you guys think about her responses before you wrap it up?
I mean, I think the one that surprised Alyssa was the one about Deanna. Was it the crying in the movie? Yes, I think that surprised her, which was like surprising to me too. But I love that. I would love to see those two in particular, back, battling each other on Women's Wrestling Army, because obviously, they have really good chemistry. But yes, I would love to see them specifically. I know I can go to Impact and, but on Women's Wrestling Army. Yes, thank you so much, Nikki. And yes, thank you, Lyric, for writing such wonderful academic articles for Women's Wrestling Talk. I'm like, I'll
be in the lab.
Love to see it. Love to see that education at work.
Period. It's giving intelligence.
Right. But that's it. That is it. What else we got, Shay?
That's it. That's the end. If you guys would like to say where we can find you guys, because I'm gonna just keep it short, because I'm gonna be back here in an hour anyways.
I was trying to point at Lyric, but I realized I was pointing at my name. That didn't make no sense. You can follow me on Twitter at Aisha Watches. I tweet about stuff that I'm watching. Would love to tweet more about the wrestling that I'm watching, which I have not been doing. But so you can follow me there. I'm there. I'm also on Instagram. You can just search my first and last name. If you feel so inclined, you're more than welcome. It's whatever over there as well. So yeah, Lyric, where can we find you?
You can find me on the Twitters at Lyric Wrestling. I talk about wrestling way too much. I watch about 6, 7? Are we at 8 promotions regularly now? I don't know. A lot. I watch a lot. Always live tweeting. Always. I have a podcast, Maps and Graps, on my Twitter. All the things on the Twitter. So yeah, follow me on the Twitter. I'll be at Forbidden Door this weekend. If you're in Toronto, come say hi.
Period.
Shay, where can we find you next?
Back here in an hour, yelling about Hank. That's where you can catch me.
Okay. Check out NXT in about an hour. Also, check out the rest, obviously, our shows that we mentioned in the commercial. Also, our newest show, which is not on the commercial yet, which is our Rampage and Collision after show, which is on Sundays, again with me and Al and Mika. We are doing it. There might be a Forbidden Door post show, possibly, but there's a lot going on this weekend, so we will see about that. But yes, definitely check us out. And then check out Lyric. I know you'll probably be live tweeting as much as you can, taking pictures.
Yeah, and I'll be at the media scrum, so stay tuned, everybody, for our Forbidden Door content from Women's Wrestling Talk.
That is really awesome. So yeah, so check us out. Yes. Also, the Salt Shakers on Sunday. There's so much happening this weekend, y'all. So please check us out and get into our shenanigans. But until then, y'all ready to wrap it up? Y'all ready to go? All right. So this is Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. We will see you next Thursday. Bye.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.